Might be wondering why I look defeated, why I look disappointed. Literally just recorded a good 22-minute show, and then my computer completely freezes and lags, and then there you go. There you go. Oh, that's so frustrating. But, folks, in hindsight, episode 54, we're going to have to completely redo this. This is in hindsight, episode 54, man. And we are watching, folks, right in front of us, baseball die. Vanish. Well, not vanish, but you get my point. Baseball has been in a lockout since pretty much last year's postseason ended, and there is currently no end in sight for this lockout to end. There was a little glimmer of hope Sunday. They were meeting together till 2:30 in the morning, and they extended it to Monday, and then it becomes a waste of everybody's time where, yeah, no deal, players reject the offer. It doesn't end, folks. It doesn't end. It hasn't ended. When will it end? Maybe us Pirate fans, maybe it's better for us because Pirates won't lose. I don't know. It's disappointing. Obviously, as a baseball fan, but baseball has already had certain damage already done to it over the X amount of years. And you look at now, and it's just the nail in the coffin. You'll always have your baseball diehards, but in terms of the casual fan left already. But now with this, you might as well kiss the rest goodbye. The casual baseball fan, more and more people are just going to start caring less and less about the sport, especially with this going on. And you know what's embarrassing? The sport is ran by the commissioner, Robert Manfred, who hates the league, hates baseball, has no appreciation for his players, and hates the fans. When you have that at the cream of the crop, what do you expect? Easily the worst manager out of all four American sports. Easily. No question. No question. The NFL has a bad one, and the NHL has a bad one. The NBA's hit or miss, but terrible. It's sad. It's sad to see, and I understand where the players are coming from because they want to benefit the younger generation coming up. But we were seeing on Sunday that a big holdup was the MLB wanting to expand a 14 team player postseason or 14 team postseason. 14 teams. What are you going to 14 teams for? Who's ever a part of those negotiations representing the league? What's going through your head? You might as well add another team to that and have half the teams make it. It's terrible. It's absolutely awful. Players wanted it to be 12, which they did settle for. But even 12 is too much. Where it is at 10 is fine. Now, there's other issues that was separating them. Luxury tax problems, whatever's involved in that. Baseball, the league wanted the bases bigger. I don't understand that. I believe they wanted a pitch clock involved. What else was there? There were players wanted younger players in the minor leagues to earn higher salary. Arbitration issues that the players want to resolve, where if you're a certain age and you still have you're coming upon arbitration. Let's say you don't come into the league till you're about 28 years old. And you have arbitration all this time, probably till you're probably freaking 34 years old till you can hit free agency. Players wanted to change on that. So I don't know when the next time there's going to be changes to this. I have no idea. But I'll jump back into that in a minute, folks. I thank each and every one of you for tuning in to this. Taking the time out of your nights, out of your day to listen to me talk about sports. Just trying to grow it. I know I haven't been on here for about a week and a half or so. I'm trying with what I can, with what I'm given. I mean, I have certain things going on that sometimes I can't record. I can't podcast, can't edit. it takes time away. So really at this point, I'm just kind of taking what I'm given in the sense of what works to record, what days work out to record, because I do have a certain schedule I like to put content up, but as of late, I haven't been able to abide by that. So really whatever's open for me, what door is open on whatever day I can record, that's kind of how I'm playing it. But if there's anything on my previous videos you guys want to check out, the last couple videos I did was I talked about the Brian Flores signing. I did talk about some certain NBA talk, especially leading into the All-Star game, into the trade deadline. So if you want to check those out, you can. I'll do a little NBA talk here after baseball. But this is probably going to be about 15-20 minute range video. My last one I did till it screwed over on me was about 22 minutes long. So you just got to kind of take it how it is and everything like that. And currently my computer is on very low battery. My laptop's on very low battery. So I will be back in a second to charge it, and we will be back. So stay tuned. All right, folks, we are back. The laptop is ready to go. So just a little transition from that little part one that you kind of saw. That was kind of the reason for it. So just not really the night going my way in terms of doing my show, from the computer spazzing out and us losing the original video and then having to charge my laptop for about an hour. That's the way it goes, so what can you do? But let's transition back into what we were talking about, as we were just kind of talking about certain things that the MLBPA and the MLB wanted to, or what they have been kind of negotiating about, what's kind of been standing in the way. But the thing is too about this, there's a lot of free agents that are still on the market. And like, how long? Let's say this lockout, I don't know, let's say this lockout ends, let's say the middle of the month, okay? So let's say the lockout ends, and let's say maybe the end of April the games will start, right? So they'll have the end of March, and they'll have a few weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks or so in April, to maybe 3 weeks to do workouts, kind of do their own spring training. Again, this is like the 2020 version of it, when spring training was canned. Baseball was canceled in the springtime, and it was a very condensed season, and they had to do workouts and pretty much all their stuff at their own ballparks. That's what this is pretty much going to happen to be. But when these guys sign, I mean, they're going to need time to get acclimated with their team, kind of get in the routine of however things go with that team. So that's an interesting aspect, but there's a lot of free agents on the market, and because it's a lockout, you can't sign, you can't negotiate with anybody. Everything's on hold. So that's an interesting aspect. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say this lockout ends like the end of the month, and we'll probably have baseball start maybe at the very end of April, maybe early May. I've been kind of an advocate for a shortened MLB season, a shorter MLB season. 162 games is a lot. The MLB season is a while. I always kind of thought, how about we start baseball in May, and we'll take it, so eliminate maybe like a month. That's kind of how I've thought about it, in the sense, if you want to maybe make the season just a little shorter. I think hockey needs to be shortened. Maybe not in the sense where you cut it down from 82 games necessarily, but why you start the season in October? See, this is my problem, kind of venturing off here. This is my problem with some of the sports out there. Right when the finals ends, in whatever sport it is, let's say, I would say hockey and NBA. The Super Bowl, from the Super Bowl all the way up to preseason, I mean, that's a long gap. So really February to really the beginning of August, that's a long gap. With, what was the other one? With baseball, you have your winter in October, the end of October, so November, December, January, February, March. So you have several months there still, pretty much. With hockey, the Stanley Cup final goes into the freaking summer, and you really have 2 months to kind of sit back and enjoy it and enjoy being a champion. And then you got to go and then the season starts. I hate that. Same with the NBA. Season ends in June, free agency's in July, drafts in July, and then you're back playing in October. I think that needs to change. But with baseball, man, it's honestly just embarrassing and a total shame. Just the fact of who runs it. Like I said, the fact you got a guy who is the cream of the crop in Major League Baseball, who hates baseball, hates the fans, doesn't appreciate the players, doesn't appreciate the league. He's easily has to go. He's easily public enemy number one. No question. No question. So it's just too bad the situation is, but that's how it is. The NBA had a lockout back in 2012. And other than that, I mean, the NFL and the NHL haven't had a lockout anytime recently. So this is just one of those things. Whenever bargaining agreements come up, you got to either just make that extension or if you find yourself in a lockout. So what are you going to do? But like I said, this show isn't going to be that long. Like I said, I got some stuff I got to do, going on vacay tomorrow, got to pack. So I don't want to do too much, but I'm going to transition out of baseball here. And I want to transition into NBA a little bit. I wanted to just kind of get my thoughts out there about MLB with Rob Manfred, about in terms of the situation with the lockout. And heck, even when we might see it end, or when I think it will end, some of the players that are still on the market. Really the issue at hand now, also with baseball, because there's a major league lockout, the minor leagues are going to still keep going on. It's a major league worldwide lockout. So the minor league baseball isn't affected by this. There's going to be minor league games played and everything, which is great for those guys because they didn't even have a season in 2020. And then they, last year, obviously, and then, this year, they're starting on time. So that's at least good for those who are fans of minor league baseball, keeping up with guys and farm systems, and for the players, coaches, everything else. So that's good at least. But let's transition a little bit in the NBA. With the NBA, the last video I did on the NBA was going into the trade deadline. So we're sitting at Wednesday right now, and we have... last week we were in the All-Star break pretty much, and then games resumed Thursday. So one of the big kind of interesting topics was James Harden making his debut Friday. And here's what I'm going to say. James Harden and Joel Embiid already are great together. You can easily see that James Harden wants to be there. Obviously, he wanted to be traded there. Now, I'm not a big James Harden fan, and it's simply just because sometimes I hate his effort on the floor. You're getting paid all these millions of dollars, and you're not there for your team. He complains a lot in terms of his situation with whatever team he is. He wants to go here, and the next thing you know, he wants to go here. I respect him as a player. I think he's a great player. But he's not my cup of tea. But anyway, him and Joel Embiid easily have a great connection already. We've seen that when he made his debut Friday. We saw it over the weekends. They're on right now on ESPN. Now, as I'm recording this, by the time you guys see this video, it will be Thursday because I was going to record and upload today, but like I said, it's kind of late now, and I'm re-recording, so it's going to be Thursday by the time you see this. But they're on ESPN right now tonight, and when you look at, they're only 2.5 games out of first place in the East. I mean, they can be a real serious threat in the East, 100%. And what James Harden's been doing already, being a double-double machine, heck, I mean he's been a triple-double guy all year too. Joel Embiid being the front runner for MVP, possibly with DeMar DeRozan. I think that Nets and Sixers trade benefited both sides because now you're getting a guy in there who is going to be playing, unlike Ben Simmons. You have a guy in there who's really a do-all guy from the offensive standpoint. And that was something they didn't have. I mean, you had Tyrese Maxey there, but Tyrese Maxey, he doesn't really fit the point guard kind of mold. He's more scorer, not really much of a facilitator, a playmaker necessarily. James Harden is those things. And so now you get a guy like that you plug into, and Joel Embiid can feed off of that. Guys on the wing like a Maxey, a Harris can feed off of that. Unlike with Seth Curry was that wing player. He wasn't a facilitator at all. He wasn't a playmaker in terms of making the offense roll at all. I like Seth Curry a lot, but he wasn't that type of player. So now Philadelphia gets that guy, former MVP. You can already tell the chemistry they all have. This can be a serious team. Now with the Nets, this was also great for the Nets, even though the Nets... Here's the thing with the Nets. The Nets obviously have been disappointing this year, considering James Harden situation, Kevin Durant injuries, Kyrie Irving only being able to play away games. I don't think Steve Nash has really done that great of a job as a coach, maybe just because the situation this year, they'll give him a little more time, which would be okay. But the Nets haven't really had it easy themselves. And so Kevin Durant's supposed to return tomorrow, Thursday night against the Heat. That should be really interesting. And the Nets, getting a guy like Ben Simmons, though he hasn't played yet because of back issues or whatever, but he's going to fill that void that they were lacking as well. They were lacking that defensive presence, that size, that versatile defender in Ben Simmons. And even though Ben Simmons isn't really the scoring type, he's not going to put up a lot of points on the stat sheet. And maybe he's gotten better with his jumper and his offensive move set and everything like that. But he hasn't played in a while. But still, you get a guy like that, and you get a guy like Seth Curry, who is better than anybody you had on the team in the sense of being a wing guy. So you get that. You get a guy like Andre Drummond down low who can really be a big-time rebounder for you, especially come playoff time, man. And if the Nets and Kyrie Irving should be playing home games sooner than later with the New York situation. So if the Nets can sooner than later, if the Nets this month can get a Kyrie every game, Durant's healthy, you got Seth Curry, you got a guy like Andre Drummond, you got Aldridge, Bruce Brown, Cam Thomas. If they can get healthy and get their guys available and play throughout this month into April, that will really do them well going to the playoffs, whether they finish as a 7 or an 8. I'm not going to sit here and say the Nets are going to be this big threat or anything. That's a wait-and-see thing once everybody's ready. But when you look at it, they definitely can maybe make some noise. So it was definitely a great move on both sides, and that's got some extra picks. So we'll kind of see how it transitions. Also, I want to give a lot of props to DeMar DeRozan, because DeMar DeRozan, man, he's just been absolutely lights out this whole month, man. He beat some record of Wilt Chamberlain's. I don't remember what it was. But this guy's been on a 30-plus point stretch for almost, it seems like the whole entire month of February. And DeMar, I think between DeMar and Embiid will be the MVP frontrunners. But this is easily DeMar's best season of his career. And DeMar's never been a slouch. DeMar was always a very solid shooting guard, or forward, whatever, on the Raptors. I think he was maybe between that 5 to 8 range in terms of position in the NBA during that time frame. And when he went to the Spurs, it wasn't really a good fit there. So now he's with Chicago. Chicago made some moves in the offseason, bringing in Lonzo Ball. Zach LaVine's new to the team. DeRozan's plugged in there. They got a guy like Vukovic who's a good presence down low. He's expanded his jumper. I said when the season started, I think Chicago will be a top 5 team in the East, and they can definitely be an under-the-radar type of team. And as we're sitting right now, they're in second place. I believe they're a game out of first. Game and a half. So they can be a team that can make some noise, maybe be an Eastern Conference final type of team in the playoffs this year. But I like where the NBA is right now in the sense of balance for both conferences, because the NBA hasn't had that for quite a while. Last year was the first year they had that. And from 2015 to 2018, those were some dark times for the NBA. I do not care what you say. If you want to say that the finals and stuff like that were great, were some great finals, I don't disagree. But when it's so predictable for 4 years in a row, Cavs, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors, Cavs, Warriors. And then Warriors made the finals again in 2019 when they lost to the Raptors. I believe the Warriors made it in 2019 when they lost to the Raptors. But when you have it like that, I don't know how somebody can sit there and say, this is great. This is great. And it's not just the fact that it was the same thing for 4 or 5 years. It's the fact that there's nobody on any level of either team. There's no balance. There's no competitiveness. Nobody cared on TNT Thursdays when it's the Grizzlies and Jazz in 2017. Nobody cared. Oh, Cavs, Warriors. Cool. That's the only thing people would tune in for. But now, when you look at the Eastern Conference, you don't have a clear-cut team coming out. Sure, Miami's the number 1 seed. Miami's a really nice, balanced overall team. And I was a big Heat fan when I was growing up and everything like that, and even into my high school days. And still today, I still root them on and support them, so I'd still consider myself a fan. But the NBA is in a better spot now than where it was several years ago. Don't care what you say. You finally have balance in both conferences. You have a lot of unpredictability. You have a lot of teams that can match up with each other, and that's what you want. That is what you want. You look at the East, Miami, Chicago, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, if they can get their guys available, can maybe make some noise. Philadelphia. Am I missing a team? Cleveland has been a very surprising, nice young surprise this year. A lot of young talent, exciting talent there if you're a Cavs fan. It's a very competitive race in the Eastern Conference. When you look at the West, the Suns are the leading favorites right now. They're 6.5 games in first, but you still have a team like the Warriors who aren't fully healthy. You have Memphis, who's maybe the most exciting team to watch right now. And you have a couple other good teams in there, though they might not get past the first or second round, but still, you still have a competitive balance there. The Nuggets might be getting Michael Porter and Jamal Murray back soon. The Clippers could be getting Paul George back. I'm not sure of the timetable on Kawhi. So you have a much better balance than what you've had in recent years, and that's what the NBA should want. Don't care what you got to say. Don't care about the people who are like, oh, well, there's no LeBron, no Curry. No. Been there, done that. Enough of that. So it's definitely refreshing. And as somebody as myself who was really distant from the NBA and really lost a lot of interest in it for several years, even though I'm still not an NBA fan in the sense of how the game is and some other facets, but it's more watchable and it makes it more wanting to maybe pay attention to certain things more, watch other games, things like that. And honestly, if I didn't sports bet, I wouldn't really know or be in the know as much as I do with the NBA. Like, I would still be following it from a distance just simply because I love basketball. And obviously, as I loved the NBA growing up, I would still follow it from a distance. But because I sports bet, I'm a lot more in the know than kind of where I have been the last several years in the sense of paying attention to the league, following it, things like that, if that makes sense. But so like right now, like I give the NBA props that it's finally finding that balance again and everything. There is good young talent. So I do find myself, even sports betting aside, I do find myself, open to watching some more games and I guess following it more so than what I did before, even though I still have my issues with the NBA. But it is better in different areas and facets than where it was before, at least in my opinion, in my eyes. So that's how it is. But we'll see how this race goes. I mean, it's this month, the month of March is going to be very interesting. The NFL offseason is great. I'm very excited to come back and talk about the NFL offseason and everything going on. Free agency starts the 16th, which even though players can still negotiate and talk and technically sign before then, that's just kind of when the period opens. And then the draft combine, this is the second day of it, so that's going to be several days of that. The NHL and the NBA, their seasons pretty much end at the same time. and then we'll kind of see how this baseball situation goes. So there will be a good bit to talk about on the show when I come back from my trip, which will be exciting, and I'm excited to see the direction how things go. So I don't know, time will tell on that, and we'll kind of see, but I'm going to end it there, guys. It's about, this is probably going to be about 25 minutes. My other one was 22. I went a little bit more with NBA than I did. But anyway, I wanted just to get some content out there before I left, so I appreciate every one of you for tuning in and taking the time to watch my shows, my videos. Hit the subscribe, guys. It's free of charge, no charge. Hit the subscribe. It just helps the channel kind of grow. It helps support the channel, and the thumbs up too, because I just want to keep reaching sport fans and have a good discussion and things like that. That's what it's all about for me. I always enjoy that. I think it's a lot of fun. So that's kind of really the goal. We're still in the early process here on YouTube, and haven't really been able for a little while be able to get content out consistently. But yeah, so if you guys would do that, I would really appreciate it. You guys can also follow me on Facebook, my Facebook page, in Heintz site, to keep up with things of the channel. And when I post things, when things are uploaded, I post links on there. My Twitter, Nate_Heintz, Instagram, Nathan_Heintz. All those links are below in the description. If you guys want to follow me on there, interact with me, whatever it might be. So, but thank you all so much. It was good to be back. Good to be back behind the mic and just talk some things that are going on in the sports world. So we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Have a good rest of your week, a good weekend. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you. We'll see you soon. We'll kind of see how things unfold in the sports world by then, folks. So could be pretty crazy. We'll see you. See you later.